Okay, so a pope, an astrophysicist, a medium, because apparently that's the correct term, not a psychic. Just gotta let you guys know, because Haunted Mansion and Talk to Me wanted to make that very clear. So, a pope, an astrophysicist, a medium, a school professor, and a mom and her kid walk into a haunted mansion. Now, normally that would be the setup to a very bad joke, but apparently it got turned into a remake. And honestly, wasn't that bad. So let's talk about it. Haunted Mansion. Hey guys, it's your guy in the chair here, and look, this is my review for The Haunted Mansion, starring Owen Wilson, Lakeith Stanfield, Tiffany Haddish, Rosario Dawson, Danny DeVito, and was directed by Justin Simeon. And our story follows a mom and her kid who just moved into this brand new home, and they feel like they're being haunted by ghosts, so they hire a pope and an astrophysicist and a medium to all come check out the haunted mansion. Or the school professor finds his way somewhere in there after a certain amount of time, but basically she invites all of them to figure out what the heck is going on in the home itself, and basically they're all stuck there until they figure out just what the heck is up with this haunted mansion. So it's the best way I can describe the plot, because honestly there's no point in making it that complicated. It's pretty much that simple. They all just get, the mom and kid get there first, find out the place is haunted. They bring all these other people in to find out if it's truly actually haunted. They're all stuck there till they get a solution. So without further ado, let's get into what I liked and what I didn't like about the movie. Okay, so as far as what I liked about the movie, look, the cast is absolutely delightful. They are a lot of fun, and honestly, they do most of the heavy lifting and backpacking throughout this entire film, because they are really the only thing that you're truly going to care about, in my opinion. And honestly, like I said, the dynamics between the characters are a lot of fun, and they all bring a different dynamic to this film that truly makes it entertaining for the most part. Like, I was honestly shocked about how much I actually enjoyed these character portrayals, because while I do like these actors and actresses, Tiffany Haddish, I kind of have a little, I'm kind of picky about her, because her shtick kind of gets old in some cases. Like, for example, I'm watching The After Party on Apple TV, and while this show definitely did not need a season two whatsoever, her character is annoying me in that. She actually made me laugh in this movie. Like, she was actually really funny in this one. I actually really enjoyed her character a lot. Owen Wilson, there's never a time Owen Wilson's ever going to disappoint me. Lakeith Stanfield was absolutely amazing. Rosario Dawson was good. Danny DeVito, I don't really know anybody who has anything bad or any bad things to say about Danny DeVito. Dude is always going to entertain the hell out of me, so I never have anything negative to say about him. Chase Dillon, he's the child actor in this movie. That kid, he plays the Travis character. That kid actually surprised me with how not only how much he captured the emotional moments of the film well, but honestly, he got a lot better as the film went on, because when he was first introduced and this thing was first, going on, this movie and the character Travis himself gave me Disney Channel original movie vibes. I thought this was feeling like a Halloween Town spinoff for a minute, but once all the characters really get introduced and we kind of get into the gist of why we're in this mansion, not necessarily why we're in the mansion, but we're really getting into, what the mansion story is and stuff like that. Once the movie basically starts to pick up, it gets into its flow, it gets a lot better from there. Like, it honestly takes a minute to pick up, but once it does, I was invested in for the most part. Like I said, personally, all I care about here are the characters themselves. I am a huge fan of the original Haunted Mansion. I really, really love that movie a lot. Like, that was one of my most watched movies as a kid, other than Toy Story, Shrek, and Spider-Man 2. Like, Haunted Mansion was a movie I watched damn near all the time. Look, that movie has a special place in my heart, because that was the first movie I ever rented on pay-per-view, and I got in trouble for it. So yeah, Eddie Murphy. Other kids, they was renting porn on pay-per-view. I was renting Haunted Mansion. So it shows how much of a big movie fan I was, even from that age. But look, honestly, as much as I didn't want to compare the two films, I truly couldn't help myself, just because there's so many different things that stand out. Now, this isn't necessarily, and there's nothing this movie necessarily could have did about this, but one thing I do know that it's missing. This isn't necessarily what I didn't like about the film, but this is truly something that it's missing. It's missing that Jim Evans from Evans and Evans real estate charm. And if you don't know what that is, that's Eddie Murphy's character from the original movie. It's missing that Eddie Murphy charm. But of course, it's hard to replace Eddie Murphy charm. Like, you're not going to be able to outdo that. You're not going to be able to you're not going to be able to overtop Eddie Murphy. Like, that's just almost an impossible feat. And not that they even try to. But these characters do a good enough job to where you at least invested in them, because as far as the mansion goes and the ghost, they're not really all that interesting. But I'll say this: I did enjoy the ghost effects in the movie. I thought the ghost effects were pretty cool. The ghosts themselves, I didn't really get attached to and didn't really care for as much as I did the other ones in the previous movie. But the effects are pretty cool. The stuff that they do at the house is pretty cool. And other than that, like, other than you just being attached to the characters, I'm pretty sure I said the movie was really funny. I know I talked about Tiffany Haddish, but yeah, no, the movie is actually insanely funny. Like, honestly, as much as this scene kind of in the context of the movie, now that I've seen it, kind of doesn't fit, that police station scene is still ridiculously funny. Like, it still hits the exact same. I actually love it. It is kind of in context, but I mean, well, it's kind of like when you watch it in the context of the movie, the scene kind of doesn't really fit, but I mean, it kind of pushes just to get, the story flowing and really get, a glimpse of who our villain is, if that makes sense. But I mean, other than that, like, other than the movie being ridiculously funny, the cast being great, and the effects being cool, other than that, in comparison to the old one, I got some problems. So let's get into what I didn't like about the movie. Okay, so as far as what I didn't like about the movie, look, I find no joy in this, and honestly, as I was watching the movie, I truly felt like I was honestly about to just start picking on him because it's Jared Leto, but I had no problem with Jared Leto's performance in this movie. I do have a problem, however, with the character and how he was written, because, like I said, truly, you do my experience through this movie, I did not care about any ghost or any mansion related things in this movie whatsoever as compared to the previous one. Like, in the previous movie, you get an emotional attachment to these ghosts because you truly start to understand why their souls need to be rested, or you essentially, you're being guided through the mysteries of this mansion itself. And it's, as you get through the story, you start to get at least emotionally attached to some of the ghosts and their stories, and why they've been stuck here. This movie doesn't really kind of highlight the ghosts that well, in my opinion. And on top of that, Jared Leto is the villain, and the way he's written into the story kind of just feels like, and you were just put there to be a dark presence. Like, you were just really there to be a villain. If you're really, like I said, I truly didn't want to find myself sitting here comparing two different, the remake. I didn't want to sit there the entire time comparing the remake to the original, because I didn't necessarily want that to take my joy away from the movie. But like I said, I truly had fun with the main 6 cast members of this film. Like, they truly do the heavy lifting, and they make the film a lot of fun. But when we get into the gist of what the mansion is, and the story behind that, and the story behind Jared Leto's character as the villain, all of that is truly just it's kind of just meh. It's kind of just very swept under the rug type thing. Kind of just, it feels like it's kind of just put into the movie because it has to be there. Truly, I'm not even as invested. The only reason I'm really invested in the reason of why they have to get out of this mansion is because they literally, like, it's a funny ass reason, like, why they can't escape this place. Like, if they ever try to leave the mansion, all the ghosts will do is follow them and haunt them until they come back and figure out what it is that they need them to do. That's a very good, it was a funny premise, and it works for like the first like 30 minutes, because each character has to go through that and realize, okay, we're stuck here. But once they realize that, and all we have left is, the story of the mansion itself, that part is just not, in comparison to the original film, the 2 stories of the mansions and why they're there, and why the villain is doing what they're doing. Yeah, no, the original absolutely stomps on this remake as far as, the villain and the purpose of, the mansion itself and the story behind the mansion. I mean, this movie truly felt like this movie truly felt like it kind of just threw together a story behind the mansion and why it was made, and, what was going on, blah, blah, blah. And it just did things to kind of just had minor callbacks to the original film, but they tried to stay refreshing, and I'll say they tried a new thing here, basically with this this cast and the way things are set up, because it's not a family dynamic that you're dealing with here. You're dealing with 6 complete strangers in just one house dealing with a common enemy, and it's the ghost. But I mean, like, for example, and like I said, I don't really mean to pick on Jared Leto here, because I really feel bad, because this dude's just getting, it feels like nothing but hate at this point when it comes to House of Gucci, Morbius, and now this movie here. Like I said, I don't have a problem with his performance, but his character and the way he was written into the movie just feels like they kind of just put that together because they needed somebody here to be an antagonist, a villainous presence. Truly, Jared Leto didn't need to be the villain. They probably could have had somebody else do it, but I mean, I don't think that really would have made that much of a difference, because like I said, the villain isn't really written that well into the movie. Like, I'm not, honestly, the old man from the original movie, I don't know the actor's name, but the old man from the original movie, that guy, even to this day, is still one of the most terrifying presences in Haunted Mansion. Like, that dude is just creepy from jump. Like, that dude, even before the final act of the original Haunted Mansion, where he turns into the big fiery beast or whatever, that movie, like, just, that movie did the villain so well. This one here, it just kind of, it really focuses on the main characters, and truly it feels like the mansion is a side character in this one. In the first movie, they kind of blended the two very well. You get an emotional attachment to Eddie Murphy's family, you get an emotional attachment to the ghost, and you get an emotional attachment to that mansion itself and why, you know, their souls need to be at rest. Here, you truly don't care. Like, I just have a problem with the way that was written, and you just don't really care. Honestly, and another thing, like I said, this really isn't a knock against the movie. This is just something I really wish they would have done. Also, minor spoiler alert, but I'm not sure how many people care about this, but the headstones that were in the original movie, I wish they would have done some sort of call back to that in this one. I wish we would have had new headstones. I really enjoyed the singing headstones in the original movie. That's one of my favorite parts of the original movie. We'll keep it down. We'll keep it down.
Oh, yes, we will. We'll keep it down. Oh, we're driving down the highway, yeah. And we're trying to keep it down.
I'm telling you, man, like, they absolutely killed it. I love the original headstones. I wish we would have had something like that. But look, overall, Haunted Mansion was actually a very surprisingly decent, fun remake. I'm not gonna lie to you. The cast does a very good job of making this a very fun, delightful film. There are laughs throughout the entirety of it. There are certain moments where, like I said, you're just, I didn't say this, but there are certain moments where you're kind of just gonna roll your eyes, because I mean, there's some corny jokes, but it is what it is. And it's not really that big of a deal. But truthfully, anything dealing with the mansion itself and the villain is kind of just rushed and just put in there because they need something to be, you know, wrong with the man. They need a story behind the mansion and something to go wrong. That, the villain and everything, that just really wasn't handled that well. But this cast does a great job of kind of overtaking that and just making the entire experience very fun for you. So look, for all those reasons and so many more, guys, I'm going to give Haunted Mansion a 2.75 out of 5 stars. Okay, guys, so Haunted Mansion, have you seen it? What did you think about it? Look, be sure to like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff and so much more, guys. I really do appreciate you for watching. Thank you so much. Look, this is your guy in the chair. More content coming to you soon.